Welcome to Health from the Inside Out, Part 2. I'm Dr. Darryl Wolf, and this is DocStar TV. Cow's milk. People that drink cow's milk have no idea that they will have more cancer, more hip replacements, more hip fractures, a higher incidence of cancer, heart disease, autoimmune diseases, and more inflammation and internal scar tissue than anyone else. And by the way, people that drink milk also live shorter lives. Remember what the doctor used to say when you had a cold or a flu? Stop drinking milk while you have a cold or a flu. When you had any sinus condition, stop drinking milk and eating cheese. That should have been a clue that this guy knows nothing about health. So you have to understand something, that if something's good for you, it's good for you. And let me say something else. I am 61 years old. Exactly 30 years ago, I wrote an article called Scary Dairy. The Canadian Dairy Board sued me for $250,000 because of what I'm saying here today. It was in Vitality magazine in Toronto. And I'll tell you something, everybody was up in arms about this article. Now today, I could write this article and there wouldn't even be a sneeze. So what you could go to jail for a few years ago, you will be the hero for today. And it all depends on who's in power and who's getting paid and who's getting bribed and who's getting what. So understand something. Check your beliefs, stay with logic, and work from your heart, not from your mind, because you'll be blind. Oh, and by the way, that glass of milk, that slice of cheese, or that cup of amazing healthy yogurt is also responsible for diabetes, MS, constipation, colitis, diarrhea, earaches, arthritis, colds, flus, skin disorders, autoimmune disease, and the list goes on and on. You get the point. Did you ever notice anybody? They go, oh, I'm just craving a glass of milk. I'm craving the cheese. The glass of milk you crave is actually an addiction triggered by the brain with every glass you swallow. I'm going to be explaining in just a few minutes how you are addicted to that as a drug more than as a food. That glass of milk you crave is actually liquid protein that can't be digested and assimilated by any human. It's tearing your body apart, causing autoimmune diseases. That slice of cheese that you're eating because your brain is addicted to it is a super concentrated mucus product. So if you're looking to jam up your large intestine like a cork in a wine bottle, then you're on a roll. And as far as that life-saving, bone-building, bowel-building yogurt you hear about advertised everywhere, I guess the saying is true. Repeat something long enough and strong enough and people will eat just about anything and do anything. Right now, we have a special guest for you, and his name is the Milkman. So check this video out, and then we'll catch you on the other side of that glass of milk.
If you want to grow up big and strong, then buy my Mammal Udder Juice products. They won't actually make you big and strong, but we've been literally saying they'll make your bones stronger for years, and no one's questioned it. Yes, in its runny liquid form, this liquid cow teat spray pairs perfectly with everything from your high fructose flakes of corn to your sugary discs of fat, or just by itself. Mmm. So fresh you can still taste the animal milk sack that we squeezed this out of. Yes, this nutrient-rich ooze was meant for another mammal, but we'll tell you it's good for you by showing you that one athlete you like so much and put a glue that looks like milk on her upper lip. Right, athlete?
Do you have this product?
Oh, ho, ho, what a slogan! And all those sugary treats wouldn't taste good without my solidified udder fat. That's right. Most baked items, fried items, or generally cooked items use slabs of the fattiest part of the cow goo. Or sometimes you spread it on top of the baked things once they're done. Either way, we make sure that you're always eating it. Or you can have our aged cow titty goop. Depending on how long we let it get moldy, changes what kind of fancy block of solid pus it becomes. And if we can't sell enough of it, we'll sneak the excess into your food without you knowing it. In fact, we made it possible for us to sneak it into a ton of food with some fancy politics. How do you think pizza companies made their crust taste better? It's all thanks to us. That's right. Even if you don't think you're buying my goo, you're buying my goo. But you're probably willingly buying my animal squishy glom because we crammed our utter goo agenda into your food pyramid or plate or whatever nonsense picture you subscribe to tell you how to eat healthy. So you now think that you need this in your diet. Once we've brainwashed you to add my gloopy animal squirts into your diet, we've got you for good. Because these solidified cow nipple drops are physically addictive. That's right. When we mold our cow breast milk into these solid blocks of melty mush, it creates casomorphins, which is an opiate more addictive than morphine, which is good for us, because if you really knew how we treat the cows whose udder drops we steal, you wouldn't buy it. It's horrifying and unhygienic and full of hormones and drugs and literal pus and animal abuse. Or maybe you do know all this, but you're too addicted to my solidified blocks of fresh-squeezed mammal to care. If it makes you feel better to pretend that the milk tastes better when the cows are happier, we'll show you a bunch of cows in the field. But that's unrelated to our actual process. So drink and eat my creamy goo that shot out of a larger animal's stomach. 'Cause look, it melts, which is somehow an appealing thing for eating. That's right, numb it up. I'm Roger, by the way, but you can call me the milkman.
Welcome to the herd. Welcome to the family curse. The countries that consume the most milk have the highest rate of osteoporosis. Is this a coincidence? I think not. Dairy products will cause diseases like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and prostate cancer to skyrocket. 1 glass of milk a day can increase prostate cancer by a whopping 34%. Now that's what I call getting hit below the belt. Now, understand this. Everybody out there is getting hit below the belt because your large intestine is the holy grail. And your good bacteria, which is not good in most people have 60 to 80% bad bacteria when they have a chronic illness. Do you understand? And you need at least 80, 90% good bacteria to be vitally healthy. Now, when your large intestine is hanging down and out or falling down, it lacks tone. And when it lacks tone, then it is allowing toxins to be absorbed into your body. Now let's think about gravity. You wouldn't jump off a building because you would end up dead. Gravity is the same thing that's happening with your large intestine when you absorb that waste. All those toxins are going down into your pelvic girdle. So we know that your prostate's getting hit, your uterus is getting hit, your ovaries are getting hit, your bladder's getting hit. We know that your hips are getting hit with toxicity, which is inflammation and scar tissue. That's why people walk around like waddling ducks, or they're dragging a leg, or they have a cane, or they have walkers. Understand, I don't care. Unless your spine is cut, you could have a cane, a walker, or be in a wheelchair, and if you really want, you can get out of that. But with most people that have a cane or a walker or a wheelchair for more than a year, that becomes their best friend, and it's also a great attention seeker, and for once in their life, they really stand out. Now, some people are going to go, boy, he's nasty. Well, then guess what? I'm nasty if, okay, you decide to stay there and you don't try to get out. The nastiness will be up for you to decide. If you take a look on my YouTube, you will see a video there of a gentleman that was in an accident and he hurt his cervical spine. They put a wire there, and what happened is the wire deteriorated and it created an abscess, and they did surgery and they nicked his spine. So now he's been in a wheelchair for 6 years, and he's been using a catheter because he could not go to the bathroom on his own. They told him he'd never be able to pee on his own again. They told him that he would not be able to walk properly ever again. So anyways, I've done 3 treatments, and that consists of about 9 hours, believe it or not, of therapy. There was one with 2 hours, and there was one with 4 hours, and then there was one with another 3 hours. Now, in those 3 treatments, we were able to get him out of the wheelchair and into a walker. And now, after 1 treatment, even before I was done, he said, I'll never be able to pee again. And I said, let's just wait and see. So when you go down and you start pulling the scar tissue apart, whether it's in the pelvis, whether it's in the shoulder, whether it's in the hip, whether it's in the neck, whether it's in the breasts, anywhere in the body, because guess what? Inflammation and scar tissue formation is the ultimate pandemic disease that's not recognized by medical doctors or by the natural health field the way it should be. And that's why we offer a money-back guarantee that when we work on people, more in the first treatment than has ever been done for them in their lifetime. Now you might ask, why do I do that? Well, because I want to prove that anybody can get well, and I want to prove that everything that I know, I can teach an 8-year-old, because health was meant to be easy, but we have to speak Greek and we have to make it complicated and we have to hold back that which empowers the general public, because that might cut into our paycheck. My mission is to teach the whole of the world from the ground up, and everyone from 8 years old up to 100. So understand something. We need to take our power back. All right, let's get back to our story. If a woman already has breast cancer, 1 serving of dairy a day can increase her risk of death by 49%. Now, yes, breast cancer is an issue, and breast cancer is growing by leaps and bounds. I understand that, but you also need to understand that breast cancer is a huge moneymaker because it's the sexiest cancer of all. And the more that they advertise it and promote it, the more that women are going to think about it and talk about it. And whatever you think about and talk about the most, that's what you're going to end up with. Now, I'd like to talk about something else. Yes, the breasts are in trouble, but understand something. I truly believe not just breast cancer, but all cancers originate in the core, in the abdominal and lower pelvis region. Because in your lower pelvic region, a man will have testicles, a woman will have ovaries. Your hormones are the masters of your metabolism. Now understand something. Why do you think that the most obvious thing in the world is not talked about with the medical system? A guy can walk in, or a woman can walk in with a bloated tummy, or her intestines falling down and out, or she can have a bloated face where she's retaining water because she's so toxic, and the doctor doesn't even see this. As I already stated earlier, they're hardwired in a different way. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is the more toxic you become because of your large intestine and reabsorbing the waste, the more inflammation and the more imbalance that you're going to have in this area that I'd like to call the Holy Grail. Now, did you ever go to the fair and see where there's somebody that has a large hammer and they come down on that hammer and they hit, and all of a sudden something comes up and hits the bell? Well, understand, the bell is the breast. The hammer is the large intestine and the ovaries. You're hitting those ovaries and you're knocking them out of balance, and that is what sets us up, I believe, for all cancers. Now, the cancer may not show there, but I guarantee you, everybody over the age of 30 has fibroids, and we use wolf deep tissue, and I go in with my elbow gently pulling the fibers apart. And I'm not talking, they don't have to have like as big as an egg, but they've got scar tissues and roots, and it looks like a web down there. And you can hear crackling, and you can hear snapping, and that's the scar tissue, the beef jerky giving away, and the blood starting to come back, and the lymph flow coming back, because you have all these lymph nodes in here. Now, I will tell you this much, that when we find somebody that has cancer and we go into this area, we do find fibroids. We do find cysts. We do find knots. We do find roots. And when we break that up, we get this whole area. And in another part of health, people talk about chakras. Well, this is your root chakra. This is where most of your energy comes from. Your vagus nerve sits behind your belly button. And you need to go and take a look on my website at what's called belly button therapy for the most amazing simple technique, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. And it works better than 35 minutes of doing yoga for helping to stretch you out, relax you. You'll sleep better. And it'll even get rid of pain that's in all different parts of your body, because this is the Holy Grail, this area. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, even though the breasts are in trouble, you better go to the root cause, which is the root chakra, which is the large intestine, and start looking after that. Now let's talk about the breasts. For one thing, if you've got inflamed breasts, then you know there's inflammation down here. And if you go under your arm and you feel under your arm and you feel a big fatty mass, that's not a fatty mass, that's congested toxins in your lymph nodes. And we need to get rid of those. Now, if you're the type of person that's worn a bra all your life, you'll find a large mass right here, from the bra. You'll find one underneath your breasts, okay? And you will actually find one right by your sternum. And that's why we do training called non-surgical aesthetics, because we teach women how to go in and remove all the scar tissue in their pelvic region, around their breasts, and their face. So understand, your bra is not a great friend. You want to get a sports bra because you want to free up and get that circulation coming back in there. And understand something, even if you go on a whole plant-based diet, even if you cleanse your colon, even if you do the belly button therapy, and you do things like curcumin cayenne to bring the inflammation down, and FibroClear and things of that nature, you need to understand that this is beef jerky, and it's hard to break that apart. It can take years, whereas with our technique, it only takes minutes. Are you starting to understand that you are unknowingly having your life taken away, one serving at a time? So now we understand that dairy causes inflammation and internal scar tissue formation. Where cars rust, people create beef jerky. The medical system does not recognize scar tissue because it does not show up on an x-ray. And the natural health profession is way behind the 8 ball when it comes to dealing with inflammation and scar tissue formation, which is the leading cause of muscle and joint problems, fibroids, and tumors. We all got sucker punched by Big Pharma. Right from the medical system to the natural health field. Everyone gets to go for this long, bumpy ride. There's never been a better example of BS baffles brains. You need to read my chapter on medical mafia in my best-selling book, Healthy to 100, if you want to know why your family is suffering and needlessly dying before their time. Okay, let's get back to the scary dairy story. Let's talk cheese. It's highly addictive to your brain in a similar way that heroin is. Not as strong as that, but strong enough to keep you coming back for more of this poison. The casein, which is the main protein in dairy products, is highly allergenic. When it enters your body, it becomes casomorphin, morphine-like compounds that go to your brain and attach themselves to the very same receptors that heroin attaches to, which creates the addiction to dairy. Even though you may be gaining weight, the addiction is more powerful than logic. So now it's not you getting fixed, it's your brain getting a fix. Human breast milk has 2.7 grams of casein per liter, whereas cow's milk has 26 grams per liter. Another problem is the molecule in cow's milk is 20 times larger than mother's milk. This is like inviting an elephant into your house for dinner. Good luck with that. Exposure to dairy at a young age can cause type 1 diabetes because cow's milk is made for baby cows, not humans. Why are we the only species to drink another species' milk? Because we're so smart? Or is it that we have just got outsmarted? Why are we the only species to drink milk after we're weaned? There is absolutely no logical answer except we're naive and willing to give away our health to be part of the herd. Cow's milk protein gets into the bloodstream and the body says this isn't supposed to be here. This is poisonous to the bloodstream. This is a foreign toxin. So the body makes antibodies to fight against the cow's milk protein, which then attacks the pancreas because that's where the poison has attached itself. The poison will attach itself to the body's weakest link. For some, it may be the heart, liver, lungs, intestines, eyes, muscles, joints, or brain. You get the picture. So in trying to destroy the casein, the pancreas ends up getting attacked and is eventually destroyed in the process. Sucker punched again. Never forget, God does not make junk. Man does. He manipulates everything he touches. like to share with you and some gifts I'd like to give. And then I'd like to answer some questions, and Lori will come up then. So hang in there. Thank you. So I hope you get the picture. It's all about the brain-gut connection, okay? I'm going to say some things and you're going to go, no, he's not right. But I want you to do some research, because what if what I was saying can actually be proven emotionally and also scientifically? And that is that your large intestine is the holy grail of your health. Your large intestine is known as the small brain. You actually have brain-like cells and neurons in your large intestine and the gut, the same as you have in the brain. Did you know, and I've said this before, that your large intestine speaks 9 times to the brain and the brain only speaks back once? You need to understand that the large intestine is the orchestra leader. You need to understand that this is why the medical system doesn't talk about it. This is why the medical system, when somebody walks in and their core is falling on the floor, they don't even recognize it, or they go, well, Bill, you need to lose weight. The real issue is not so much in the tissue, even though the tissue is inflamed and infected. The real issue is the good bacteria have turned into bad bacteria, which we know creates what? It creates messages to the brain that cause a release of things like release of adrenaline, cortisol, which create high acidity, which causes inflammation, and it also causes depression and irritability. So yes, bad bacteria create bad moods. So understand, when you're having a fight or an argument, or you feel grumpy for no reason and you don't know why. You know, did you ever feel grumpy and you didn't know why? Well, you feel grumpy because the bad bacteria are making you feel grumpy because you created them. Remember something, everything in your life, you made the choice, you did this. Now, this is not about guilt, so please do not go there. Just know that you have the power. You were given everything by your Creator. I just love when people say to me, well, I'm going to let my Creator look after this. My Creator will heal me. Understand something. It takes two. It's teamwork. You need to start thinking about what you think about. How do you think about yourself? Do you think of yourself as a beautiful creation, or do you put yourself down? And when you put yourself down, are you eating foods that are putting yourself down, that are causing your bacteria to change? So I just want to leave that with you. I'd like to tell you this. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do. I've been working on this now for approximately 5 months. We had a big gap in our webinars. Now, I won't say it's 4 weeks, but I will say it's about maybe 4 to 5 weeks out. I'm going to be starting the most in-depth, but it can be understood by an 8-year-old, because 8-year-olds is why I did this. Understand something, okay? Children are pure. If you look at a baby, you can see the spirit that comes off of a baby, so pure and it's so beautiful. That's because it is pure. It is the Spirit of God. And when a baby gets here, by the time it's walking, it's now adulterated. What does that mean? Well, that means that adults are raising it. Okay? So I've created a webinar series, and it's called Get Emotionally Fit. It's going to be a half an hour every week. And I am going to go through and I'm going to show every direction. I'm going to come from every angle. And an 8-year-old can understand this up to a 99-year-old. And I'm going to show that you have the power to change your life, to change everything around. Now, this will run for about 4 months. So it'll be a half an hour approximately every week, and then I will answer questions. But when I'm done, I will prove that your emotional body actually controls your physical body, and that you have sick beliefs that are causing you to become sick and stay sick. Listen to me. If you go to a doctor and you've got a tumor and the doctor cuts out the tumor, did he cut out the belief that created it? And are you actually cursed by God or by genetics? I don't think so. So I know I stir things up. I know sometimes I'm a little bit edgy. But I promise you this, that I will always give the information to back up what I'm saying. Because this is a time of change, okay? And as I've said before, I will have anybody else come on DocStar TV or DocStar Radio that wants to challenge any of my beliefs. Because I am open for conversation and I'm open for being questioned. Because it's hard to find the truth out there. It's hard to trust anyone to the point we don't even trust ourselves anymore. So what I'd like to offer tonight is, I would like to offer to everyone out there that if you go to healthy to100book.com, you can read my Healthy to 100 book, and it's in an animated style, and it's funny, and it's real pretty to look at. And you can go on there and you can read it anytime you want, and you can test drive it to see if it's worthy for you to buy. And I will also give you another offer. Anyone that's never ordered from us before, let's say you wanted to order 3 months of the Daily Cleansing Tea, anything that's over $75, anybody that's bought before, if they spend $75 or more, we will give them a free Healthy to 100 book, and that's worth $30. Anybody that's never bought with us before, their first purchase, we will give them the Healthy to 100 book. All right? We are out to make a difference. So now what we're going to do is we're going to answer some questions. Next Wednesday will be part 3. And then after that will be, the next following week will be belly button therapy. The week after that will be Dr. Howard Fisher talking about the most potent food source on the planet and why it's so good for you. And then the following week after that, we will be kicking in probably Get Emotionally Fit. And that will be the webinar series, and that will probably run for about 4 months. I will do other webinars and release other things, and we'll let you know. But I really need to get the whole story out to people, because you need to understand something. You were emotionally crippled the minute your mother gave birth to you. And it was all plotted out and planned. So, this is planet Earth. It's one hell of an adventure, okay? You come down here and you get the soul ripped right out of you. You don't know who you are. You don't know if you love yourself or hate yourself. Well, that's the whole game. You come down here and you're supposed to just fall apart and get right to the end and want to end it all, and then all of a sudden see the light and then rise up from the ashes and be the hero that saves your life. Well, that's what we want to do for you anyways, or at least give you some jump start on that. Okay? So Lori, let's answer some questions and let these people get on with their night.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, we've got a question. Am I in far enough? I have a question from Carolyn from Connecticut, USA. Can you get the same benefits of rebounding by jumping in the water? I have knee problems.
Well, walking through the water is really good, and especially if it's salt water, okay? And if you have knee problems, you better be, when you're rebounding, you better not be rebounding like this, because that's hard on your knees. What you want to do is that you just want to go for a nice light walk. And then the other thing is, if you don't have a rebounder that has a beautiful, soft, loving bounce, and if it comes down and it kind of bottoms out, then you're going to have worse knee problems. Now, knee problems, if you've got knee problems, even rebounding could irritate them. I know you live far away from us, but if you can ever get up here, in 1.5 hour treatment, in 1.5 hour treatment on each knee, we will actually, and I'll make this guarantee to you, we'll actually reverse 80 to 90% of your knee problems, and we will show you how to go home and complete the job and totally renew them. I will tell you something right now, that we have people that are scheduled to go and get knee surgery, and we make this promise to them that if they still have to go to surgery after we get done talking to them about diet and what they need to do nutritionally, and we do our Wolf Deep Tissue to break up all that scar tissue around there, and by using DMSO and essential oils and castor oil pack, we build a routine that if they have to go and still have the surgery, then we'll refund the money for their therapy. So that's how sure we are, because listen to me. If you want to go get advice from a surgeon, it's going to be surgery. If you want to go get advice from a chemo expert, it's going to be chemo. If you want to get advice from me to turn around something, it's going to be deep tissue nutrition and a lifestyle, and we'll turn it around. So, pick your poison. That's what I say. And you know what? I will say something else too. Did you ever notice that, did you ever get frustrated with your family because they go, well, I'm going to go for chemo or I'm going to go on this drug? Well, you know what? People will pick the therapy that matches how much they love themselves and how much they hate themselves. You can tell when people have a real self-hate relationship going on because they pick abusive therapies that really don't work.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, I've got a question from Carmen in California. This can't be a one-size-fits-all. I've been drinking milk my whole life and have no negative side effects or conditions. Why is that?
Well, probably if you check, you're probably an O type, because A type have more problem with their with digesting any type of protein, and A, B, 2, and B, but O usually doesn't have as much trouble. But the problem is with O is that they can digest animal protein better than any other blood type. But guess what? I'm an A. I do something that's not good for me, I feel it within 10 minutes. Lori does something that's not good for her, and she doesn't even feel it. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that if you're an O, you wake up one day going, oh, I don't feel that good. And then you go to the doctor and you find out you've got an orange-sized tumor in your stomach. Whereas with an A type, I'm a drama queen. I do something and I'm, wah. So, it keeps me on the narrow path a lot more. Now, the other thing is that hydrochloric acid, if you're a real stressful person, right, or have a lot of stress in your life, then your hydrochloric acid will be weak in your stomach. Some people are born with very strong hydrochloric acid, and they can digest and break down animal protein easier. But guess what? Don't you dare think for a minute, even if you're not feeling it, that low-grade inflammation is gradually creating scar tissue formation. And if I were to go into your pelvis and work on your pubic bone and underneath your pubic bone, I guarantee you there'll be snapping and cracking and popping. And I guarantee if I go into the core here, and also the joints that crack and the ones that are stiff, and if you don't feel flexibility, what do you think that is? And the other thing too, guess what? I don't believe in old age, okay? All right? I do not believe in the old age that everybody believes in, because I will tell you something, and I say this, and it's not because I'm going, oh, I'm 61, but I'm 61 and I have the flexibility of a teenager, and I also have the energy of a teenager, and that's because I eat a fresh and raw, whole plant-based diet, and I do a lot of other things too, but I definitely will stay away from the animal products, because since I've done that, and I don't have the extra little bit of fat, I have the extra energy, I don't have the headaches I used to have when I was younger, I don't have the sinus problems, and I don't have the stiffness. All right?
Yeah, it's really amazing work. Thanks, Carmen. And I have a message here from Raphael. Hi, Raphael.
Hi, Raphael.
Hi, Kinga.
Hi.
Daryl fixed both my knees, he says, a couple of years ago, and now it's just maintenance.
Yes, and you know what? But you have to understand something, Raphael. Let's be fair to everybody. That Raphael and Kinga actually came here, and I worked on Raphael's knee, and he had problems for years with it. And it took me about maybe a half an hour to actually fix the knee. I mean, you people need to really get this. That this stuff is not miracle stuff, because you're the miracle. And as far as I'm concerned, I have a doctorate in acupuncture. Yeah, no. Deep tissue. I have many other degrees in other different types of physical therapies. No. Unless you're going in and pulling the scar tissue apart, which is like beef jerky, you're not doing any work. People say, oh yeah, but I do feel better after I have shiatsu or chiropractic or acupuncture, or I go to the physio. Yeah, but we don't want to calm the beast down. We want to eliminate the beast, okay? So unless you're actually working on scar tissue, you're not actually doing a thorough job. Now, Raphael and Kinga, they came to us for 5 days, and they learned how to do the deep tissue on each other. They came for our couple's personal treatment and training. So you know what? They are as good as any other therapist that has been in school for 5 to 10 years, because it's not how long you go, it's how powerful the therapy is. And remember something, the Doc of Detox wants to sell you less, but to train you more, because that is where it's going to be. And the problem is most practitioners feel they're going to run out of sick people. Meanwhile, human beings are on the extinct list, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, I've got a question from Trevor from New York. How exactly are you pulling this scar tissue apart, and how do I go about getting a treatment?
Well, how are we pulling it apart? First of all, if you're a massage therapist and you're using hands, and no offense, but you can't do it, okay? It's a technique that I put together when I was 27 years old. And so I've been doing, and now I'm 61. So we've been doing it since then. And when I say this, I'm trying to reinforce something into your heads. Right from when I was 27 until now, we've always had a money-back guarantee that we will go beyond the first treatment of all the other treatments, everything you've ever done, and we will give you at least 80% relief. So and then we will teach you how to get. So the best way to do it is actually, Trevor, is to come up here with your wife, your girlfriend, or your spouse, whoever that may be, and come here and get a treatment and get trained and take it home so that you can work on each other, so that you don't need me anymore. The most important thing about any therapist is, if the therapist is not teaching you not to need them, then the therapist isn't really a great therapist. We need to train everybody on what we do. And if your therapist can't teach you on what they do, then you need to find a therapist that can teach you something that's going to get you well and keep you well and make you into the master of your own body. And I was down in New York, and every time we go places, we do treatments, but that was a few weeks ago. I'm going to be in Florida, Orlando, and we'll be doing treatments down there. I'm also doing a lecture for Ty Bollinger, and I think that's on the 5th, isn't it? It's on the 5th.
Thursday.
On the 5th,
Thursday?
On the 5th, I'm doing a lecture for Ty, and it's called Tumor Time Bomb. It's a 45-minute lecture at the Marriott. And then on the actual 8th, I'm doing a 3-hour lecture. So if you can get yourself from New York to Florida, Orlando, I will actually work on your knee for free and fix it in front of 250 people. How's that? There's the deal. Okay.
That's a good deal. Okay, I've got a message from Raphael. He's planning on taking the deep tissue course next year.
Hey,
Good
great.
for you.
That's great.
Awesome.
When you come, if you could, you should stay for the 3 days for the non-surgical, because we're spending just 3 days, and we're going to be teaching how to go in and actually, in one treatment, take 5-10 years off the face, get rid of sinus problems, eye problems. You know about the story where I worked on the lady from England, and she was deaf, going deaf, and she was deaf completely for 1 year. And then I worked on her for half an hour, and she has complete hearing. This has been 3 months now, and she has complete hearing, and she has no balance problems anymore. And guess what? Her and her husband called us just a few weeks ago, and they're coming here to take the whole training. So, but if you come, we'll teach you how to do the face, and then we're also going to teach how to do the breasts, because anybody that's worn a bra, okay, women that is, I hope, I don't know, well, whatever. Anyway, so right under here, you'll find there's a ball of scar tissue, under here a ball of scar tissue, and throughout the breasts, and that's all from the bra, and also from toxins. If you had a toxic diet, your toxins want to go to fat, because that's what fat's for, is to store toxins. And we're going to show how to do that. And if you go to Florida, anybody, I'll show you, because we're going to get somebody there that has usually a fibroid in the breast the size of an egg. It takes me about 15-20 minutes, and I'll totally take the whole thing apart. So, and we're going to do the face, we're going to do the breasts, and we're going to do the abdomen, and we're going to do the pelvis. Because the pelvis in everybody over the age of 20 has scar tissue like webbing in there. And if we can get rid of all the scar tissue in our pelvis, man, I'm going to tell you, then you turn on the main energy source of the human body, and it's down here. Why do you think when we were younger, they always used to talk dirty about our pelvis area? Sex is dirty, it's all dirty down in that area. Well, that's the main area of energy and life support. So you better honor it, and you better respect it. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question from Michael from New Mexico. Do you teach this technique? And I would love to add it to my practice.
Do I teach the technique? We actually have a course coming up on November the 3rd, and then it runs for 19 days. Those first, we're having it where we do 6 days, what's called Whole Life Coach, where we teach you how to coach your patients on an emotional and physical nutritional level. We teach you about the perfect day emotionally and physically and nutritionally, and we teach you all about exercise, and we teach you about lots of techniques on how to accomplish in 20 minutes of exercise what it takes most people an hour and a half, and most people damage themselves. And then, and then we're going to take a day off, and then we do 7 days of the wolf deep tissue, where we teach the whole body. And then we take the weekend off, and then we do 3 days of the non-surgical. And just so you know this, we mean what we say. Every non-profit out there, healthy non-profit, we will actually teach our courses for free. We will allow somebody to come from that non-profit. We will teach them, and they can take it back, because it's the non-profits that are doing beautiful work.
Thanks, Michael. I've got a question from Julie from Montana. Are products from goats okay for human consumption?
Cow's milk is 20 times larger in molecule size than mother's milk. And also mother's milk doesn't have the casein in it. So just know this, that all animal products have that. So the goat's milk is only 7 times larger than mother's milk, not 20 times. That's why it isn't as irritating to people who then go drink the goat's milk. So, but I would not do it. I would not drink any animal milk, okay? You know, if I was going to drink animal milk, I think it might be monkey milk, because I think they're closer to us. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, try to milk a monkey. That should be good. Okay.
Okay, Marie from Atlanta says, I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. How do I go about booking a consultation with you?
Well, you're not doing everything wrong. Maria, you have done everything right, okay? You can only do as good as you know how. And with every passing day, you'll learn new things. For one thing, you know what? Forgive yourself for everything. Get rid of all guilt as soon as possible. And just know, Maria, that you are the goddess of everything. And just honor yourself and love yourself. All right? Think about what created you. And you were created out of total love. And that's where we need to return to if we want total healing. But I can help you get started with that. You can call us at 855-900-4544. And you can book. I would get a nutritional and emotional consultation if you're open to that. And what happens is we will send you a script for the nutritional and the emotional. And we wait 1 week with the nutritional to give you time to start getting in your groove. And the emotional, because it's really 95% of all healing and health, we give you 2 weeks. And then we come on and I go on for an hour, either on the phone or on Skype, and I tape it. and I send it to you, and you pay the one-time fee, and then you can call us here as much as you want, and when you need to talk to me, I will be there for you. Just like I was just talking to someone, and they said that they have a really long question, and she's from England, and I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I couldn't do your question tonight because your list was that long. So, and what I told my staff is that, so you know, you can just call me tomorrow, and we will book 15 minutes on Skype, and I'll answer all your questions, okay? So just know that nobody gets left behind here, okay?
Thanks, Marie. Gord
Is
says.
this the last one? No, it's not.
Yet.
Two more. Okay.
Two more.
Okay.
Okay. Gord says, can the gallbladder be strengthened through massage?
The gallbladder, can it be strengthened through massage? First of all, yes, it can be. Because what happens, you're going to love this one. So, do you know that when you have a gallbladder attack, a lot of time that it's a fart attack? And what I'm saying is that it's actually from the cecum, the waist in the cecum, which is on the right side of the body, and it's just above the hip. That's called the cecum, and it's the first part of the large intestine where the waste comes into, and then the cecum, it contracts and then it comes up. Well, most people, they don't drink enough water, and they don't drink structured water, they don't drink enough live food. So what happens is that the waste actually gets dry, hard, sticky, clicky, and then guess what? Did you ever see a hot air balloon? Well, it's up there, isn't it? So a gas bubble can come up in here, and the gas is actually toxic. Okay, so it is, and it irritates up underneath, which we call the hepatic flexure, because it sits right under your gallbladder. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story in a second. This is a good story. So then it comes underneath into the hepatic flexure, and it causes low-grade inflammation, which causes scar tissue formation, and that's when sometimes you feel a pull in here, and that's because you're getting scar tissue, and the scar tissue isn't flexible, so then it's like we've tied a knot in there. I can go in there with my elbow in 1 minute, and I can give you that relief you want. But understand this. When I ran my colon therapy clinic in Toronto, it was called the North American Institute for the Advancement of Colon Therapy back in 1986. Okay, I wrote a book. It was 360 pages long about the colon and about cancer and how to cleanse out the colon and things of that nature. It was used by the United States Senate to do a study. Anyways, one of the doctors actually came to me to get permission to use this. And when he came up, he said that the surgeries that he did, he would do a lot of gallbladder surgeries. And, okay, I know you're not going to believe this. I'm not saying they do this everywhere, okay? Anyways, they would go in and people would have gallbladder attacks. They'd take the gallbladder out and they'd have no gallstones, so they'd have to go get somebody else's stones to give it to the person because you can't tell someone you took their gallbladder when they didn't have stones. All I'm trying to tell you is that it's always better before you get out the knife to get out the elbow. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And to get out the daily cleansing tea, because if you were actually do the daily cleansing tea in the morning and at night every day, you wouldn't be in that trouble.
Thanks, Gord.
Thanks, Gord.
Okay. I have a message from Robin on Facebook. She says, come to New Zealand and train me.
You know what? We are going to be going to New Zealand. There's a gentleman, and he's world renowned, okay? And he has a huge retreat, 250 people in Sedona, and they want us to come down there and do trainings. And then he's opening up one for 500 people, and they want us to come there and do trainings. So we'll be there. We'll get there.
We're not sure when, but we'll be there.
But we'll be there. You've been warned.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. We go anywhere, don't we?
Yeah,
we'll go anywhere.
We will.
We'll go anywhere, and we'll train anybody because...
Anywhere.
Okay.
I have a question from Ellie. When all my joints and gut are filled with scar tissue, how do I start breaking it down? Well,
first of all, is getting a non-inflammatory diet, getting on structured water, and the other thing is totally forgiving yourself for anything you've ever done, and not feeling guilty for anything you've ever done, and totally just really, you got to get into it. You know, everything is just a thought. Think about what you think about. Think about how you talk to yourself. And every time that you talk in a negative way, you release negative chemicals you release negative emotions, I should say. You create negative emotions that then release negative chemicals which create the inflammatory problem. If I were to get you to totally love yourself right here, right now, you'd melt that down like a wall. Especially if you were doing the water, the daily cleansing tea, and you learned how to do some, well, if you have a husband, come and learn it. You know what? So what? You spend $3,000. You come here for a week. You know, at the most, you'll spend $4,000. You're going to be here for a week. And guess what? In 1 week, $4,000, you know how to create the perfect day in every way. You know, you're the best therapist in your valley or in your state. I mean, you're going to know how to do everything. I promise you, you'll have family members come over that have gone to therapists for 20 years, and you'll work on for 20 minutes, and they'll be blown away. God created health that everyone should have it. That's why if an 8-year-old can't understand it, then it's not true health. And if they speak in Greek, then I would freak and run. Okay? All right.
Okay, that was the last one. So
Oh, there you go.
make sure you tune into part 3.
Yeah.
And this webinar will be on this page. So if you want to watch it again, make sure you share it.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched part 1, then watch part 1. And then 2, and then next week's 3. And like I said, we're going to try to give you really entertaining stuff, and we're going to try to bring up our professionalism as much as we can. And but we want to make sure that it's lots of fun. And when I get really intense, I'm not talking to your conscious mind, I'm talking to your subconscious. So know that your subconscious mind is 80% of you. So I might speak a little bit like 80% louder to try to wake it up. So have a beautiful day, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Where is the love? Where is the love? The toxic truth must be told today. It's never black and white, only shades of gray. Where's the love, mama? For this I thirst. I know you always said I gotta love myself first. I gave $5 to breast cancer, but now I'm dying from the sweets. Was that really the answer to fight my mama's cancer? Where's the love, mama? Now that you're gone, my heart is empty. It feels so wrong. Doctor, stop the treatment. Start training me. All this therapy is starting to pain me. The media tells us lies, but never listens to our cries. They're all a bunch of fakers, cause they work for the money makers. The big FDA and the AMA. They say it's the only way, so we pay. Where's the love, mama? Why is daddy addicted to the drama? Why is our family always in trauma? They say terrorists are coming, but mama says they're already here. They force vaxxed my sister, she doesn't even know what hit her. Let's make this right, help me turn on the light. Eat right, drink right, shine your light for me tonight. Fear is what they feed us, fear is what we demonstrate. Feeling like we don't stand a chance, can't break free from this corporate dance. What's their answer for cancer? Cut, poison, and burn. Where is the love, mama? When will we ever learn? You took an oath, you gotta practice what you preach. This contract you have broken, what is it you really wanna teach? Chemical gases, even in our shower. We can't even think, they've stolen all our power. The corporations we trusted, and now we are busted. A country of fear, our faith no longer here. Love lost in lies, my breaking heart dies. We need an evolution, a love revolution. The world plays with my love. Is there an answer up above? The message I keep getting is self-love. Love is the answer. Show me the love. Love is the answer. Show me the love.